Mel Kiper published his final 2025 NFL Big Board, so I want to look and see what draft targets the Browns could be looking at, not only at pick number 2, which we know, of course, but also towards the end of round 1 if they trade back into the first, then at pick 33, and with both third-round selections that they have. Now, quick reminder to go ahead and subscribe before the NFL draft kicks off. We're going to have pick-by-pick analysis. We opened up the week with 32 new subscribers. I want to get 284 more before the draft starts. So if you haven't yet, do future you a favor and subscribe today for the best free Browns draft coverage. Now, let's look at some round 1 targets based off Kiper's big board. The number 1 player on his big board is Travis Hunter. But I want to look at some of the guys that maybe the Browns could be targeting in a round 1 trade back. Say, Josh Simmons, who comes in at number 15, the left tackle from Ohio State. And I promise I'm not just being a pander here to Buckeye fans. I'm also going to toss out there Emeka Egbuka, who comes in at number 31 on Kiper's big board. We know what the Browns are going to do at pick number 2. Spoiler, it's Travis Hunter. But I do want to look at it from multiple angles. Hey, if the Browns are sitting there at pick 33 and there's a guy like Simmons who they thought would go top 20 for sure, and he's there at 25, 26, 27, people might think they're going to jump back into the first for a quarterback. They might go out there and address their left tackle problem with Ohio State's left tackle from last season. So those are some candidates to watch for in round 1 as a potential trade back up. Now, as for some round 2 targets with that 33rd overall pick, I'll do this in 2 waves. The first wave is the quarterbacks. Jaxson Dart comes in at number 28 on Kiper's big board. Tyler Shuck is next at 46, and Jalen Milroe all the way at 64. We have spent a lot of time talking about all the quarterbacks in this draft class, and if you're just kind of waking up now for the first time, here's the elevator pitch I have for you all. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to be long-term starters in the NFL. I personally would not use the 33rd overall pick on any of these 3 quarterbacks. But we all know that the quarterback tax comes at a price, and it's the most valuable position. So even if someone's ranked 50th, if you don't pick again until 60, you might have to take him at 33. So Tyler Shuck, Jaxson Dart, Jalen Milroe, they've all got very unique profiles. I mean, Dart has maybe the most I would say pro-ready look, but he's got good accuracy, he's got a lively arm, he's got nice mobility, but he also has some WTF moments. Then you got Tyler Shuck, who's got the best arm, arguably, of the draft, some might say. But if you thought, like, Dart had some WTF moments, Tyler Shuck is in his own category of, what was that? And I don't even know how the laws of physics allowed you to throw the ball that direction from that angle. That was an insane play, but then the next play was the worst play I've ever seen in the history of Pee Wee football all the way to the NFL. And then lastly, you've got Jalen Milroe, who has probably the strongest arm of the entire class. He's definitely got the fastest legs. Andrew Berry compared him a little bit to Lamar Jackson. So you've already got Milroe in Berry's mouth, and whenever that happens before the draft, people start connecting the dots. That's not a bonk, but Milroe from a athletic profile is the best of the bunch, but I mean, when you look at the stats and the production, listen, I don't think you should make your entire evaluation based off college stats because every guy's working in different circumstances with different receivers, different offensive linemen. It's not a level playing field, but Milroe, to me, I just don't see it. I know the traits are there. I was one of maybe the few minority that was very adamant that Anthony Richardson would be a bad draft pick. There are so many instances of great athletes and awesome track stars that put pads on and that works in college because you're faster than everyone there. It doesn't translate to the NFL. And I don't think Milroe's game is going to translate well to the NFL. So if it's up to me, I'm passing on all 3. If I'm making a prediction as to what the Browns are going to do, I would look closely at Dart. I think he is someone that if sits for a year, learns how to run an NFL offense and not Lane Kiffin's Mickey Mouse offense, and learns what it's like to go through progressions. By the second, maybe third year of his career, which at this point we rarely see quarterbacks get that much time on the bench to develop, but that's how it used to be, he could be a competent starter. The other guys, I'm not saying. I'm not saying for any of them. But if I had to pick one, I'd go with him. Okay, let's say the Browns don't go quarterback in round 2, right? Let's say this has been one entire media facade that the Browns and Giants are going to go quarterbacks the first 2 picks of round 2. And they're just like, I don't know what you guys are smoking. Those are not round 2 targets. We're thinking maybe round 3 or round 4 for them. Here are some actual round 2 targets that make sense for pick 33. Kenneth Grant comes in at number 30 on Kiper's big board, followed by James Pierce, the Tennessee edge rusher, at 34, and then the Oregon left tackle, Josh Connerly. So a little bit of background on these 3 guys. We'll start with Grant. He is one of the best athletes in this class, like pound for pound. He's 331 pounds, and when you throw on his highlight reel, you'll find a clip of him chasing down a Penn State running back for a touchdown-saving tackle. You expect that from a corner, not from 330 pounds. So if you want an athletic, twitchy, interior guy, he's your man. He doesn't have the most consistent tape. There are some flashes of excellence and greatness where he's like a slam dunk round 1 guy. And then there's games and stretches where it's like, that's a round 3, maybe on a good day guy. So that's what you get when you've got guys who play at that size. It's just tough for them to stay, conditioned all game, all season long. They're going to have plays where they're, huffing and puffing with 330 pounds on their knees and ankles. They're just not going to have the same type of durability as someone who's a little bit lighter. And the Browns learned that the hard way with Siaki Ika. But I don't think that should permanently scare them off from the big fellas. All right, before we look at the other 2 players for round 2, we've got an awesome new sponsor on today's show. That is House of Atlas. This new shaving company gifted us one of their razors, and honestly, I'm kind of blown away. Not only does it look insanely sleek sitting in my bathroom, but it gives me an incredibly close shave. It feels weird to gush over a lineup of shaving products, but truly House of Atlas makes some one-of-a-kind stuff. Now, they're giving the Dog Pound 15% off their first order when you purchase any razor kit and the before and after set, which includes the Precision Shave Cream and Calming Aftershave when you use code CHAT at houseofatlas.com. Come back for Thursday night for the NFL Draft. You're going to see a baby face on me, completely shaven. I mean, I'm not going full like the other guys, all the way down, but like at least the face, it's going to be a baby's bottom soft. So for a limited time, they're offering the Dog Pound 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit and the before and after set, which includes the Precision Shave Cream and Calming Aftershave. Use code CHAT at houseofatlas.com. That's houseofatlas.com with promo code CHAT for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I did. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Getting back to our round 2 targets that aren't quarterbacks. James Pierce is a name that was supposed to be the first overall pick in last year's way too early 2025 NFL mock draft. So fast forward to the actual 2025 NFL draft, and Pierce I've seen mocked anywhere from like the Falcons at 15 to the Eagles at 32. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he falls to day 2 of the draft. I personally don't think it's very likely. He's extremely athletic. He's got insane linear speed. He ran a sub 4.5 40-yard dash. To put that, in comparison, your defensive end is faster than some running backs. That's just not how it's supposed to be. They're running backs because they run, right? But Pierce has some insanely athletic traits. Now, he's got a bit of a sleeker, slender frame. I mean, just looking at the picture right here, throw it on really quickly before you go to me. And doesn't he look kind of like a linebacker or a safety? So he may not be a good fit for every team's defense. Like a 4-3 defense at under 250, he's going to get pushed around by left tackles. But in a 3-4 defense where you use him as an outside linebacker and he's not putting his hand in the ground. He's got a little bit of room to utilize that speed. He could be a better fit. But Barry might look at this and go, this guy has no business being here at pick 33. He had 10 sacks 2 years ago, 7.5 sacks last year for the Vols. Let's just kind of find a home for him, and he can be like JOK with, 3 times the pass rush prowess. So Pierce is just one name to watch for if they slip out of round 1. The last guy I'll toss out there is Oregon left tackle Josh Conerly, 6'4", 313 pounds. He started 27 games for the Ducks at that left tackle position. The Browns, in my opinion, should not have a ton of faith in DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin starting all 17 games. Historically, it's never been done. What would change? Why is it going to change in year 3? Right? If it didn't happen in year 1, all right, shame on you. Doesn't happen in year 2, shame on me now. Expecting to get both tackles who have had a lot of injuries over the last half decade to play all 17 games in 2025, I think is a bit preposterous. I think it's silly. And Conklin is going to be a free agent after this year. Jones, after this season, he's got 2 years left on his rookie deal. So you got to start thinking for the future a little bit. And Conerly is someone that's been floated out there as a round 1 target. If the Browns want to make sure that their offensive line issues from last year do not come back again this year, a tackle early in round 2 would go a long way to solve that issue. Now, I will say it's not a very good tackle class. So the only way I see this happening is if the Browns look at, say, Conerly or someone else as like a round 1 guy, and they're like, whoa, he shouldn't be here. Right? Imagine like you've got your big board, okay? And you're crossing off names, boom, 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 boom. And then there's that one name that's not crossed off. But all the names below it are crossed off. I feel like a weatherman right now. And so you're like, he was 14 on our big board. How is he here? Whether it's Josh Simmons, whether it's Josh Conerly, he's got no business being available at this spot in the draft. And we don't think we're going to find any real good starter anywhere else in the draft. So if we want to get a tackle, it's now or never. And I think that would be the path to Conerly or Simmons going to the Browns at round 2, pick 33. So the Browns have 2 third-round picks. Let's look at some names for the earlier third-round pick. It's pick 67, I believe. I got 3 names to watch for here. 2 corners and a running back. Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame corner. Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State back. And then Darien Porter, Iowa State corner. All 3 have, a lot of pros to their game. We'll start with Morrison. I think he could be the number 1 corner in this draft when looking back. Now, taking Travis Hunter really alleviates some of the pressure for a corner, but if he's going to be a receiver first, then you probably want to get someone who could be there full time. Morrison is a very unique prospect. If you look at what he did in 2023, he's a no doubt slam dunk round 1 guy. However, he had a hip injury halfway through 2024. And for a cornerback, hip is arguably the most important, I don't want to say bone, but part of your body that you want to stay healthy. Make all those twists and turns, flip your hips. That's going to be, honestly, a non-starter for a lot of teams. They go, listen, we don't care how great he was in 2023. We don't care that he had 9 career interceptions, 27 pass breakups, and a touchdown in just 2.5 years of college football. We're not touching a hip-injured corner with a 10-foot pole. The Titans tried something out with a guy named Caleb Farley who had a back injury, and he was off the team before his rookie contract was over. Not taking that chance. But if a team is willing to take the chance, it could pay off huge. Because Morrison's got great ball skills. He's a surefire tackler. He's awesome in coverage. I think he can play man. I think he can play zone. I think Morrison could be a steal for a team in round 2. So if the Browns are sitting there in round 3 going, how is he still here? Let's get him. We've got 3 starting corners as is, with Martin Emerson, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and kind of, Travis Hunter, depending on how large of a role he has at DB. But of those 3 guys, 2 of them are free agents after 2025. And Denzel Ward is getting closer to 30, and he's had a lot of concussion issues. Morrison could be our long-term, next long-term outside corner. So I like the idea of getting Morrison. If you're comfortable with the hip injury and with the medical stuff, I think this could be a great, future pick, especially when you factor in he'll have some time to let that hip get healthy because he's not going to be tossed into a starting role immediately and let that hip kind of flare up. The other two guys I want to look at, Quinshon Judkins, the Ohio State back. 5'11", 221. So he's kind of low to the ground, but he's got some good muscle to him. But he still has some nice burst, 4.4, 840-yard dash. I feel bad for Judkins. If he was in last year's draft, he's the number one running back taken without a doubt. But he's here in round 3 because his teammate, he might even be the best running back on his own team. TreVeyon Henderson, I expect to go before Judkins. And it's unfortunate for him when it comes to his draft profile because he worked in a split backfield, which means he didn't get a ton of attention from scouts and whatnot, because if you just went surface level rushing yards and touchdowns, although he still had a really nice season, it doesn't look crazy. Now, despite working out of a split backfield in 2024, what I'm going to say next might sound crazy. Teams might have some concern over the wear and tear already. He's got 739 career carries. That's a lot of touches for a guy before they get to the NFL, right? That's going to your team with, hey, my knee's already bothering me a little bit because I've touched the rock 739 times. But when he was at Ole Miss, I mean, there was a reason why he was SEC Freshman of the Year, All-American freshman. He had so many accolades through his first 2 seasons with the Rebels. Transfers to Ohio State to win a national championship. I'd say he made a pretty good decision out of that. Plus, he made a little bit of change as well in NIL. But if the Browns want to go running back and they just don't prioritize it early in the draft, I like Judkins a lot. I think he's being slept on, just like Henderson, because they both worked in a split backfield and they didn't get 1,500 yards like Omarion Hampton and Caleb Johnson did. But it doesn't mean they could not have gotten 1,500 yards if they worked in that type of running back department. Then the third guy I want to look at for the early stage of round 3 is Darien Porter. So he's a very unique prospect. 6'2", 195 pounds. For a corner, that's some great length. You're getting a lot of reach, and that means a lot to teams. That's the difference between a pass breakup with your fingertip and getting mossed for a touchdown. Here's where things go sideways. He played 6 seasons at Iowa State. He only started 1. It was this past year. He started off as a receiver, then made the switch to cornerback. So despite being an older player in this draft, he's 24. He played 6 years in college. He's kind of a raw prospect, right? He's still learning the cornerback position. He's only got 1 season of starting experience. But for what it's worth, he was really good in that 1 season where he did start for the Cyclones. So I don't know if the Browns would be comfortable with this. They usually like them young. Shout out Drake. But Porter, if they're willing to just kind of go purely based off a trade standpoint, you don't get 6'2" corners who've got blazing speed and like he does very often in round 3. And that's why I think they were drawn to Martin Emerson. He had really good length coming out of Mississippi State. And if they're thinking, down the line a little bit about whether or not Emerson will be here for a second contract, this could be their next lengthy outside corner who just needs a year to, learn the position and develop a little bit on defense. All right, looking at the second half of round 3, a couple of guys here. Terrence Ferguson, 80 on Kiper's big board. You've got the Ole Miss defensive end, Princely Umanimian, and then Trey Harris, another Ole Miss player. So a little bit of background on both these guys here. I want to start with Trey Harris, or really just focus in on Trey Harris, actually. So he's 6'2", 205 pounds. If you've noticed, it's hard to find a prospect in this class who did not transfer at some point. He started off at Louisiana Tech. He's from just outside Baton Rouge. Then he transfers to Ole Miss, and he puts together a really good season and a half. He unfortunately missed about 5 games in 2024, which means his production doesn't pop out as much. But if you're willing to look past the injury, I mean, for a guy that doesn't have incredible speed or athleticism compared to some other receivers in this class, like, say, a Luther Burden, he's kind of, I wouldn't say like a Keenan Allen type, maybe like an Amari Cooper. Like, he's just a really good dominant possession receiver. I don't want to make a David Bell comp because that's what he was at Purdue, but he is someone that's just got a knack for being at the right place at the right time and finding the soft spot in the defense, letting the ball come to him, and having good hands and keeping the offense on the field. I liked a lot what I saw from him when he was healthy for the Rebels. over 1,000 yards, 60 grabs, 7 touchdowns. So he could be a really nice third-round pick for the Browns. And right now their receiver room is a little top-heavy. I mean, you're going to add Travis Hunter, so Jerry Jeudy, then put Travis Hunter, then Cedric Tillman. But if you're feeling like, hey, we can bring some more competition in for Tillman and for Mike Woods, Trey Harris in round 3, if you get a full, season of healthy work out of him, you could find a really good number 2 receiver in my eyes. So that's who I would probably look at closer for that later round 3rd pick. All right, let's name a random Browns draft pick. Just to kind of keep things light to wrap up the video here, and then we'll pick a card. Get in the comment section. I'm going to go with... I don't want to go back too far. I don't want to go too far. I'll go with... You know what? Give me Nick Harris. I miss Nick Harris at fullback. It's a shame he got injured. Oh, we've got Reed going with Josh Cripps. Very good. All right, let's pick a card. Which card do you want to go with? Ace of Spades for Reed. I'm going to go with King of Spades. This one's come up a lot this offseason. 10 of Spades. 10 of Spades. I will be back in probably, just a matter of hours with another video, some more content. We're just pumping out videos right before the draft.